are a commission appointed by the mayor and city council to plan for the orderly growth and development of the community, to hold public hearings, and to make recommendations to the city council on planning items. Please note that the city council rules state that public hearings for planning cases shall be conducted solely by the planning commission. No additional public hearings will be conducted by the city council. Tonight's cases are tentatively scheduled to be heard by the city council next month. Agendas can be found at topeka.org. For cases that require public hearings, the procedure will be as follows. First, the planning department staff will summarize the case. Next, we will hear from the applicant or their representative. Then we will receive public testimony. Public comments should be addressed solely to the chair and are limited to 4 minutes. Chris, please take the roll.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mr. Dean.
Here.
Mr. Freed.
Here.
Mr. Kanar, I have not seen log on. Mr. Kaup.
Here.
Ms. Lawson.
Here.
Ms. Messina.
Here.
Ms. Ringler.
Here.
And Mr. Warner.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
All right, item B on the agenda, approval of minutes, August 17th, 2020.
I will Mark Freed makes a motion to approve.
Dana Ringler will second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Chris, please take the roll.
Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Mr. Dean.
Aye.
Mr. Freed.
Aye.
Mr. Kaup.
Aye.
Ms. Lawson.
I abstain.
Ms. Messina.
Abstain.
Ms. Ringler.
Aye, sorry.
And Mr. Warner.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 7-0 with 2 abstaining, or 6-0 with 2 abstaining.
All right, declaration of conflict of interest, ex parte communications by members of the commission or staff. I'll start with that one. I will be sitting out item D2. My firm is representing that developer.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm not declaring a conflict, but I want the record to show that I have a family member who's employed at Stormont Vale, but that fact is not going to influence my consideration of the matter on the agenda tonight in any way, so I'm going to participate.
All right. Anyone else? All right, we will move on. Item D, action items. Number 1, public hearings. 1A, Z20/04 by Stormont Vale Healthcare, Inc., requesting to amend the district zoning map on property located at 700 Southwest Washburn Avenue from M3 Multiple Family Dwelling District to MS1 Medical Service District to allow for Cotton O'Neill Cancer Center Pharmacy addition.
Mr. Chairman, this is my call. I will be presenting this case tonight.
Okay.
Z2004 is a proposal by Stormont Vale to change the zoning of this less than a half of an acre site at Southwest 7th and Washburn Avenue from M3 Multiple Family Dwelling District to MS1 Medical Services District. Next slide. The proposed zoning change will allow owner Stormont Vale to build an internal use pharmacy for the cancer center located on this block. It will be attached to the cancer center by an enclosed corridor. Planning staff have reviewed a site and landscape plan for this project, but the zoning change is required prior to issuing building permits. At this time, there appears to be no opposition from neighbors or the general public to the proposed zoning change. Staff recommends approval and recommends the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to the governing body. Next, please. Here are some photographs of the site. The site previously contained a 31-unit apartment building, which was demolished in 2016. Next, please. The site occupies less than 1/2 acre of a 3.2 acre block. The balance of the block is currently zoned MS1, Medical Services. The land immediately north of the site is zoned M1 two-family dwelling district and contains single-family detached homes in a dense pattern. The land to the west is zoned O&I2, Office and Institutional, and contains the Kansas Rehabilitation Hospital, also part of the Stormont Vale campus. Next slide, please. The proposed zoning and land use are consistent with the comprehensive plan. The property is located in the Old Town Neighborhood Planning Area, and the policies of the Old Town Neighborhood Plan apply. The future land use map in the Old Town Neighborhood Plan designates this block and the surrounding blocks as medical services. Conversion of land use to medical and related uses is anticipated by the plan. Relative to the other zoning criteria, also known as the golden factors, proposed development fits the surrounding neighborhood's physical character. Proposed MS1 zoning is compatible with surrounding zoning, and the site is currently not well suited to its current M3 multifamily residential zoning. Next slide. This concludes staff's presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Hall? All right, given none, would the applicant or their representative like to make any comments this evening?
I could just add, this is Maria Catino with HGK Architects, that this request for Stormont Vale is a requirement to meet federal regulations required for the Cancer Center. Federal regulations have changed how you handle hazardous drugs, which would be the mixing of the chemo that they give the patients, and that is not able to be done within their current facility, and so this addition is needed to keep up with those code requirements.
Thank you. With that, we will open the public comment portion of the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak, please let us know, and you will have 4 minutes for your comments. Anyone wishing to speak to this evening? All right, with that, we will close the public hearing. No further comments will be received. Commission, any discussion items? Definitely seems pretty straightforward.
To me, everything, this is Katrina, everything seems consistent, so I don't have any concerns or questions.
Yeah, I agree. It's consistent with the rest of the block and connected to the center itself. So, all right, I would entertain a motion then.
Based on the findings and analysis in the staff report, I move to recommend to the governing body approval of the reclassification of the property from M3 multiple family dwelling district to MS1 medical service district.
Second.
Motion and a second. Chris, please take the roll.
Mr. Warner,
Aye.
Ms. Riegler,
Aye.
Ms. Messina,
Aye.
Ms. Lawson,
Aye.
Mr. Kelp,
Aye.
Mr. Freed,
Aye.
Mr. Dean,
Aye.
and Mr. Armstrong.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0 with none abstaining.
All right, we will move to item D1B, Z20/03 by A.M. El Kabusi, Trust for El Kabusi Jana Trust, requesting to amend the district zoning map on property located at 3440 Southeast 29th Street from R1 Single Family Dwelling District to M2 Multiple Family Dwelling District to allow for conversion of the existing single family home to a duplex, as well as conversion of an attached garage to use as a single family dwelling. Future development will add 3 duplexes on the north side of the property upon the extension of Southeast 28th Terrace. Ms. Driver?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This is Planning Department case Z2003. The owner and applicant is El Kabizi Jana Trust. The owner requests the zoning change from R1 single family to M2 multiple family dwelling district. Slide 2, please. The property is at 3440 Southeast 29th Street, comprises approximately 3.29 acres. The owner's intent with this rezoning is to eventually develop the property for a total of 9 units. His current plans are to remodel the house that is on the property, on the south side of the property, for a duplex, and then remodel the garage, the detached garage, into a accessory dwelling unit. He has future plans to develop the north side of the property for 3 additional duplexes, a total of 6 units. The existing residence was constructed before the property was annexed into the city. The size and configuration of the property are reflective of this being a county rural residential home site using a septic system for wastewater. Slide 3 represents zoning of surrounding properties. To the north, you have M1 zoning with additional duplexes. To the south, you have the county RR1 residential reserve zoning district. The uses in that area comprise Lake Shawnee, baseball diamonds, the lake trail system, and other recreational uses. The property to the west is a PUD, planned unit development for Aquarium Center. The use classifications in that PUD are O&I2 and C2 uses, as well as some R1 uses surrounding the commercial and office. Land uses in that PUD are retail stores, medical offices, and bank. To the east is RR1 zoning and another single family dwelling constructed around the same time as the house on this property. There's a church site and additional commercial retail uses at the corner of 29th and Croco. The applicant conducted a neighborhood meeting on August 20th via Zoom video conference. One resident of a property on Flora Court attended that meeting, even though she was outside the notice area. Her main concerns identified were lack of maintenance of some of the existing duplexes in the neighborhood and the lack of home ownership of those duplexes. Slide 4 represents is a concept the applicant has sent us that shows what he has proposed. Sorry, future. Slide 4 would be one before this slide. This is a concept that the applicant sent us showing the future duplexes. Just a note is that the M2 zoning does not require the developer to build this use or this exact design. M2 would allow a density up to 15 dwelling units per acre. What he's proposed is slightly less than 3 dwelling units per acre. Moving to slide 5, staff has reviewed the case relative to the findings and conclusions in the code section 18245. Those findings and conclusions reflect the Golden factors per Donald Golden versus the City of Overland Park, 1978 Kansas Supreme Court case. Staff identified some key issues of those findings. The subject property is within an ideal location near recreational uses, additional commercial and office uses, other duplexes for it to develop at a higher residential density than single family. The developer cannot realistically develop the site under the present R1 density restrictions and lot size restrictions to gain enough units to make the project a reality because of infrastructure he has to extend. For phase one, he'll have to extend a sewer main approximately 400 feet to the west. Phase two will require the extension of 28th Terrace onto his property. Additionally, the site is within an area where the comprehensive plan supports both residential and mixed uses. This staff is recommending approval of the zoning change from R1 single family to N2 multiple family dwelling district. As of this morning, I did receive a call from the neighbor to the direct east of the site who owns the house at 3450 Southeast 29th Street. Her main questions were about how the zoning change would affect her property. I explained to her how to access the staff report online, and she also wanted information about attending the meeting tonight. This concludes my presentation. The applicant is here to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Ms. Driver, I do have one question. Can you tell me what triggers the extension of Southeast 28th Terrace, and what is the funding mechanism to extend that, which allows this property to develop further?
The developer would have, this is just, well, ultimately, first of all, this is the first step in the process. He will have to come back with the subdivision plat. Essentially, he'll need to extend that street before he builds on the property to the north. And as far as funding, it would be either through a benefit district or developer initiated.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Kopp?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one question for staff also. Annie, I'm a little unclear as to exactly when the public sewer connection and the water, public water has to be accomplished. The staff report says when another dwelling unit is added to the site. Does that mean that the conversion of the current structure to a duplex and the conversion of the garage to an accessory dwelling unit, can that all be done continuing to use the septic? Or is that?
No, he will have to extend the sewer in some manner when he converts the existing house into a duplex or adds another restroom to the garage and converts that will require building permits.
And that will come back to us in the plat?
Yes, that is correct. He will have to plat that at the time as well, beforehand.
Okay, thank you, Annie.
Mr. Freed?
Yeah, there's this comment on the slide about for the commercial strip area for reducing or eliminating new direct access on the arterial. So is there talk about removing the access now on the property when he adds 28th Terrace, or is that just not part of the discussion at this time?
Both our traffic engineering staff and county public works have looked at this, and he would be allowed to keep those driveways in the meantime. The alternate access off of 28th Terrace will have to be provided when that street is then installed. So for just the duplex and the garage dwelling, he will be allowed to keep the driveways.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? All right, with that, we will ask the applicant if they would like to say anything this evening.
I do not have any comment. I believe Annie presented the case. I was cut off for a little bit, but I looked at the paperwork and I am good with the presentation and the materials presented. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the applicant this evening, commissioners? All right, at this point, we will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this item, please let us know, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the commission. All right, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing, and no further comments will be received. Any further discussion by the commission? All right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would, based on the findings, analysis, and staff report, I would move to recommend to the governing body approval of the reclassification of property to M2 multiple family dwelling district.
Mark Freed will second.
Motion and a second. Chris, please take the roll.
Mr. Armstrong,
Aye.
Mr. Dean,
Aye.
Mr. Freed,
Aye.
Mr. Kelp,
Aye.
Ms. Lawson,
Aye.
Ms. Messina,
Aye.
Ms. Ringler,
Aye.
and Mr. Warner.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0 with none abstaining.
All right, thank you. I will be stepping off. Mr. Freed, you have the chair. Mr. Finder, do you have communications to the commission in item E after this?
I don't think I do. I had sent an email out last week about our updates to our webpage, so I think that's the only communication that I had, and I already sent it, so no.
All right, well then I shall be permanently logging off for the evening.
I object.
Wait a second.
A second.
Mr. Freed, the chair is yours.
Thank you, sir. All right, we will now call item 2, or B2, P2015, the Timber Ridge subdivision number 2.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This is a preliminary and final plat for Planning Department case P2015. Plat is for Timber Ridge subdivision number 2. The area in question comprises approximately 6.08 acres. Slide 2, please. It is composed of 10 new lots. They range in size from approximately 0.21 to 0.9 acres. The land use is single family residential, and the density before streets is 1.6 dwelling units per acre. The purpose of the subdivision is to replat Lot 9, Block A into 10 lots. The plat proposes access to lots 1 through 7 from Southeast 55th Street, which is a cul-de-sac that extends to the west. Lots 8 through 10 have access from Southwest Timber Ridge Lane. A little background, the original or parent plat, Timber Ridge subdivision, was platted and approved in 1990. Did not start developing until 2012 after the construction of a sewer interceptor down in the area. Slide 3, please. The proposed final plat is a replat of Lot 9 that was originally intended for a community sewage treatment facility that was never built. Lots within Timber Ridge subdivision did not develop until the city constructed the Southwest Interceptor between the years 2009 2010 that was intended to provide sanitary sewer to Washburn Rural High School. In 2008, the developer entered into an agreement between the city and the Unified School District 437 to participate in costs for extending the interceptor. That extension enabled Timber Ridge to then develop with connection to the city's sewer system rather than it was originally platted in 1990 with a community lagoon. The property is located in Tier 3 of the urban growth area. Typically, city code requires annexation before receiving city sewer. Annexation in this case is not being required. Exceptions are allowed if the city has previously agreed to provide sanitary sewer to a property and a consent to annexation is provided, such as this case, where the developer did consent with connection to sewer. A consent to annexation note is also added to the plat. Slide 4, please. The plat subdivides lot 9 into 10 new lots. That is conformance to the comprehensive plan, given the fact the lot is not needed any longer as it was originally dedicated for a community sewage lagoon. The proposal does add lots to the original plan. However, the overall density of the plat is comparable to the surrounding subdivisions, densities, and lot sizes. In addition, the plat does not alter the original design that was previously platted. Slide 5. The overall subdivision design conforms to the established standards and provisions of the subdivision regulations relative to design criteria, with approval of one noted design variance that is stated in condition number 3 that requires a Topeka Planning Commission variance regarding the dead end length exceeding 500 feet for Southwest Timber Ridge Lane from Southwest 55th Street to its dead end boundary until extended as part of development when that property to the south is platted. And once again, that street extension was the street for Timber Ridge Lane was final platted on the original Timber Ridge subdivision number, the original phase of Timber Ridge subdivision. Staff is recommending approval of the preliminary and final plat for Timber Ridge subdivision number 2, subject to those conditions in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Cobb.
I have two questions for Annie. What's the proximity to the current city limits? Does the city come down to 53rd Street?
Yeah, the current city limits is, Chris, can you go back to the other map? It is the boundary that's shown. You see Lawrence Bay to the north of 53rd and Wanamaker. It's the blue boundary there. So that's where the current city limits.
Okay.
So Lawrence Bay is in the city. And then that property at the northwest corner is also in the city. So that is where your city limit line is.
Okay. And Annie, just want to make sure I'm clear on this. This is a replat for the purpose of adding a 10th lot to the previously approved plat, right?
Yes, it is. That original lot was for the community lagoon back in 1990, and this adds 10 additional lots.
So right now, with the plat that's on the books right now, the developer could build out the property with 9 lots. The only thing that's at issue here tonight is a replat to allow the 10th lot.
No, the entire property was platted for the community lagoon. This adds 10 lots plus the cul-de-sac there, which is
right. But there's a plat that's already recorded that does have the nine lots on it, right?
No, not for this area. No.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions from staff? All right. Do we have anyone to present on the, do we do a presentation from the developer?
This is Angela Sharp with Bartlett and West representing the developer, Doltmeyer Homes. And as usual, Annie did a very thorough job of describing the case. The developer has owned the property for decades, and it was finally starting to develop once he entered into the interlocal agreement between the city, USD 437, and his development company, so that the Southwest Interceptor could provide the sanitary sewer that allowed a number of the USD 437 buildings, lagoons, to be taken offline and connected to a public sewer under a mandate from KDHE. And this is a replat, as she discussed, of the one lot that was intended for the wastewater treatment. That now will be 10 residential lots that are in keeping with the size and character of the existing lots that have developed at Timber Ridge. And I don't know that there's really anything else to add, so I will stand for any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Sharp? Okay, not seeing that we have any questions.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments from the commission?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I apologize. I'd like to go back to staff for just a quick question regarding the street that's proposed here.
All right.
Annie, am I looking at this right? The Southwest 55th Street is just going to be what, maybe a quarter to a half mile in total length, and it's going to run from Southwest Westport Drive to the proposed new cul-de-sac. That's going to be Southwest 55th Street.
No, that portion of 55th Street's already in. This is just a small cul-de-sac off of Timber Ridge Drive. So Timber Ridge is being extended to the south boundary. And then 55th, the cul-de-sac will extend off of Timber Ridge Lane.
Right. What I'm looking at is the west end, the west terminus, I guess, of 55th Street. It doesn't.
They will have to construct. They will make that connection. They will be making the connection between Timber Ridge Lane and where 55th Street dead ends right now. Yes.
And I understand that's the county's call on that.
That is, yeah, that is, I believe it's a county, it would be a county benefit district for the streets.
Right. It just doesn't look like a very good traffic circulation to me, but I guess that's part of the deal of having the county doing the zoning and we do the subdivision approval.
It actually will provide connectivity between the east end of 55th Street, which now ends right at the, I don't know if you can point it to Sandy, right at the end of the lots on the west side of the intersection of Timber Ridge Lane and 55th Court that's shown on the plat. The street currently extends to the west boundary of those two lots that you can see on the west side of the intersection. And then it will extend, Timber Ridge Lane will extend north to the existing extension of Timber Ridge Lane. So it actually will loop the traffic through Timber Ridge subdivision that isn't currently looped. Does that make sense?
Well, but it still terminates on the west end to Southwest Westport Drive. Isn't that correct?
And Westport extends north and connects to 53rd Street.
Right.
So there will now be two connections to 53rd Street for all of the lots that will be developed. Westport Drive and Timber Ridge Lane will both connect to 53rd and then be connected internally through the subdivision.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other questions or comments from the commission? All right, not seeing or hearing any. This is not a public hearing, is that correct? So we just need a motion. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the subdivision plat as spelled out in the staff report.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Chris, you want to take that vote?
Okay, Mr. Armstrong is abstaining. Mr. Dean?
Aye.
Mr. Freed?
Aye.
Mr. Kalb?
Aye.
Ms. Lawson?
Aye.
Ms. Messina?
Aye.
Ms. Ringler?
Aye.
And Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 7-0 with one abstaining.
All right. That takes care of that. And since Mr. Armstrong has chosen to abstain for the rest of the meeting, I don't believe Mr. Fyander, you indicated there are no comments, communications to the commission?
Correct. I did forget. I usually update you guys on what city council did, but I'll just remind you, they did approve the last two zoning cases you had heard, which was Flywheel at 6 in Fair Lawn, and then they also approved the Wanamaker West PUD amendment at 30th Terrace in Wanamaker. So I just like to keep you guys abreast. I forgot I'll have to update Mr. Armstrong offline.
All right. Thank you for that. With nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Do we need a vote, or is that good enough?
We're good.
All righty. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.